Hey there you degenerates, Mir here, aka LaZW4fuHunter, and today we're going to be doing a unit review in Heroes Cantare. If you guys haven't seen my last video, I have said that I will only be playing God of Highschool units in the game, only because I love the webtoon. I have fully read the webtoon. It is an amazing webtoon. It doesn't mean that I am biased against the other units. All the other units are great. I just prefer playing the characters that I want to play. So with that said, let's start with the unit review. The unit that we will be looking at is one of the units that I have started in the game and level 90'd for a long time, which is Taek Jegal. We'll be taking a look at him in the collection other than what I have currently here. We're just looking at the stats that I have on him currently. And as you can see here, that I have built him well in attack, and there's a good explanation to why he's built attack. So going into our collections, down to heroes, and then there he is. Taek Jegal is a fire attribute unit, and his affinity is evil. He has a 20,737 attack, 658 defense, 92,061 HP, and 395 speed. And as an S rank unit, you know, he's pretty much like a little basic there, and like type of stats in the attack department. Greed bleeding, when he uses one card, he attacks two opponents with 65% attack, puts them in the status of bleeding by 30% attack with 70% probability for 2 turns. When you fuse 2 cards together, he gains Greed Poison, attacks 2 opponents in the front row with 120% attack, and poisons opponent by 30% attack with 90% probability for 2 turns. And when you fuse 3 cards together, he gains Greed Bloodsucking, attacks 2 opponents in the front row with 200% attack, inflicts 50% additional damage for each weakening status, meaning bleed, debuff, let's see here, speed debuff, anything that's just a debuff in general on the opponent, and heals up to 5 weakening statuses. So pretty much any type of debuff, he'll just heal it off. It's really good to run units that are running debuffs on him. His first passive is Ambition, 15% attack boost and 50% debuff accuracy boost. Second passive is Law of the Jungle, puts opponent in status of bleeding with 30% attack. His special ability, or his ultimate if you will, is Greed Mass Explosion, attacks all opponents with 130% attack and inflicts 50% additional damage to debuffed opponents, leaving 1 poison and bleeding status for 2 turns. As you can see here, his kit is built on debuffs and damage over time abilities, which effectively makes him a good damage dealer. So he pretty much gets a lot off on the attack set. This is my rare damage set. He gains a overall 14 at like the rank A. He gains an overall 14% increase to attack and a additional 12% HP. And I'm pretty much running these like something like Dippity Toy Hammer. Increased skill damage by 3.5%, attacks by 261, armor crash by 5%, and also an encore inducing electric guitar, which is accuracy 6.5%, attack plus 313, and damage boost to martial arts types by 5.8%. I pretty much would rather just run attack on that. Other than his necklace is not that bad. I got debuff accuracy on him and skill damage. You kind of want to run attack and debuff accuracy because he's just going to be relying on those debuffs. If you're not getting debuffs on a lot of units, you're not really doing a lot for your team, especially when, like, you know, he's really reliant on just overall on his bleeds and stuff, because his attack isn't really to go home on until he gets awakened to SS. I'm not entirely sure what the mats are on awakening him to SS, but the stat jump will be phenomenally different. But I'm not sure if the lower rank units are able to go up to higher grades than they currently are, because I do know that SS units can go into SSS. I just don't know if S units can go into SS while A units go go to S rank, to rarity. So looking at his stuff here, I have his debuff accuracy at 57%. It's not that bad, but at the same time it's not that good. I would prefer it to go a little bit higher, maybe at least around 70%, so that way I can be constantly applying debuffs to help out my damage overall. Let's see here. Take a look at his awakening on his bar. As you can see, he's pretty much gaining like debuff resist, debuff resist. He can actually be pretty good on certain advent bosses because he does have debuff resistance. You could probably run him in Kuvera, because Kuvera has like constantly debuff type of deal. He's all right in a way. Like when it comes to advent bosses, PvP same thing. But the problem is that if people are running debuff resistance, they pretty much counter him, and he's just pretty much just a walking damage stick from my experience. He does gain attack boosts. As you can see here, he's getting like 850 attack, speed plus 10, attack plus 600. So he does get a difference in stats once you start maxing out his tree. Starts getting a lot more attack. It's not as good as like, because the rarity differences in this game, like yeah, all units are usable, but at the same time their differences stats is like night and day. So SS units are always going to have a lot more stat gain than regular S units, but it doesn't mean that they're not unusable. It's just that the way that most gacha games rely on that. They don't really want you to use like the lower rarity units, but it's kind of gives it a little bit of rarity because games like Fate Grand Order, lower rarity units are given the chance to be scaled up to like level 90. You want to go there to level 100 based on the Grail system. I'm going to say that the system is pretty much the same on here. You pretty much can get units up to SS if it's applicable. Once I get him to 6 stars and then see if I can max him up to SS, then that will actually be a good boost in stats for him to really cover up the difference. So relic wise, I have mana amplification, which increases his attack by 3% on a 3-chain skill sort of thing, so meaning 3 cards put together. And I have this one, Dawn of Retaliation, 2% of accumulated attack boost on every attack. So every time I use him more and more, he gains a increase to attack until it goes up to 20%. So it's pretty much good in the long run, and he's doing more damage with his debuffs. So that's it overall. He's a pretty good unit on the damage side. You can use him in story mode. I've been using him in story mode my entire for the most part. I switched him out with Heavenly Warlord Morijun because I want to have the trio in the same team, and then once I get up there, you know, that's pretty much it. He's actually pretty good with Witch of the West Miiryu. Reason why is that because Miiryu not only does apply debuff poison, she actually has a pretty good effect on her ultimate ability, which is National Treasure Blade of Tathagata. Attacks all opponents with 130% attack and explodes the poison damage on them to inflict 50% additional damage for each poison. Because you're going to be using Jegals through most of the time, you pretty much are just getting out like DOTs and debuffs. And if you have Witch of the West Miiryu with him, then you're pretty much like a type of like bomb, I guess you can say. He's just like a damage bomb for her. But the problem is that once they release King Uma, which is another God of Highschool unit, don't run him in arena if you see King Uma on the team, because King Uma unfortunately eats debuffs. He eats debuffs to increase her strength and heal, and that's pretty much a type of death sentence for him, and you really don't want to inhibit that for the enemy. So that's all with today's unit review. I hope you guys like this content, and if you do, please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time, and stay safe. Bye.